How's it going? Matthew Jacobson with Arena Football Talk, and let's talk about the Western Conference Final between the San Diego Strike Force and the Arizona Rattlers. Both of these teams are ranked 3rd and 4th in the conference. Both had to win road games, both upsetting the top two teams in the West, and the Rattlers getting an unlikely home playoff game. The Rattlers decided to go for a whiteout, and while I did see some dialogue within the Rattlers community that a whiteout wouldn't work, as someone who is a hockey fan who definitely misses the Arizona Coyotes, it was nice to see a whiteout for the first time in 12 years? No existential crisis today. Nick Davila was in the house. There's a couple other Rattlers legends that were out there for the opening coin toss. Speaking of the opening coin toss, San Diego won. They elected to defer to the second half, and the Rattlers started off with the football. The Rattlers started off on San Diego's 16-yard line and didn't really end up moving the ball very much. They were down to 4th and 7, but Coach Guy took a chance. He decided to go for it because you cannot walk away from the opening possession without scoring. They went for it. Dalton Snead found Jamal Miles, making it 1st and goal on the 6-yard line. Excellent play call. It's one of those risky things Kevin Guy decided to do that, for his credit, he kind of needed to do. You need to set the tone early on. And one thing that Dalton Snead and Coach Guy have both said multiple times in their post-game press conferences, the indoor game is a possession-based game. Dalton Snead found Jamal Miles for a 6-yard touchdown, 7-0 Rattlers. The point after attempt was good. It did look like San Diego was going to challenge on that play. They ended up not. Rattlers walk away with 7 points when realistically they could have had to settle for 3 or nothing. San Diego tries to move the ball forward on the first offensive possession. There's some penalties. There's some solid defense. There's Connor Taylor rushing on every single play, at least that first drive. Connor Taylor was just running around the entire time. Amari Alexander ends up breaking up a pass in the end zone, making it 4th and goal. Then you had another incomplete pass in the end zone. Turnover on downs. The Arizona Rattlers walk away with the football. And just spoiler alert, the first and third quarter, the Rattlers held San Diego to 0 points. With 49 seconds to go in the first quarter, Dalton Snead, it's a fake handoff, 28-yard rushing touchdown, 14-0 Arizona. And that's how it would remain at the end of the first quarter. On San Diego's next offensive possession, solid effort by Connor Taylor stopping Davis short, making it a 4th and 1, but a solid play by Nate Davis in the next play to make it first goal. 21-yard gain to Arthur Jackson. This was a really solid possession for San Diego before Nate Davis hits Jackson for a 15-yard touchdown, making it 14-6 Arizona after the point after was no good. San Diego goes for the onside kick. They recover it, but shortly after, Jermaine Dobbs picks off the pass around the 5-yard line. The ball was brought back to around the 1, and that's where it was placed for Arizona to start. Then Snead hit Niger Jackson for a 35-yard touchdown. Point after is good. 21-6 Arizona with 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the second quarter. On the following kickoff, San Diego was stopped within their own 5-yard line. They ended up starting at the 1 there. It's going to be a running theme, so I'm probably just going to stop mentioning it here, but the Rattlers special team, primarily in the first half, they wouldn't let San Diego do anything. The special teams stepped up and constantly stopped San Diego within their own 5 or 10 yard line. Even in the second half, they were still mostly stopping them within their own 10. San Diego's offense really weren't set up to succeed in this game because of how well the special teams was playing for Arizona. Jermaine Dobbs hits a 15-yard pass interference penalty, and then Davis hits Amy for a 3-yard touchdown. Point after is no good once more. 21-12 Arizona with 1 minute to go in the half. Jamal Miles at a 15-yard return. There was a flag on the play, and this ended up happening 4 or 5 times. So I'm also not going to continue to mention that, but I'll mention it here. Unsportsmanlike conduct on both San Diego and Arizona. Like I said, it happened 4 or 5 times. Always offsetting. Not entirely sure what that's all about. I'm really not going to try to judge unsportsmanlike conducts. I didn't really see a whole lot of most of those plays, but it is what it is. I know it's a championship game. I don't know if the refs just potentially want to avoid sending the game in one direction or the other. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, most of it just kind of seemed fine, but there was definitely some contact on a handful of kickoffs on both sides, but offsetting about 4 or 5 times. It was the first time I ever saw that. It was just really weird. I know I need to mention it. I don't really have much more of an opinion past that. Anyway, Snead finds Gibbons around the 7-yard line. Then he finds Jamal Miles in the next play for a 7-yard touchdown. Point after is good. 28-12 Arizona with just 15 seconds to go. Nate Davis's pass in the end zone just couldn't connect. It's 0.05 seconds to go in the half. They run one more play. San Diego hits a field goal, 28-15 at halftime. Just a couple of halftime stats for you, because honestly, this Rattlers team, as someone who's been following and covering them since 2019, this game felt like classic Rattlers football. It felt like the offense was going from start to finish. The special teams was spot on. The defense played really well throughout the entire game, but a consistent effort by all three phases. Dalton Snead, 10 for 13, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Nigeer Jackson, 3 receptions, 46 yards and a touchdown. Jamal Miles, 3 receptions, 2 of them were touchdowns, 19 yards, and Jermaine Dobbs had an interception. Starting off the second half, the Rattlers special teams did exactly what they were doing in the first half, stopping San Diego within their own 10-yard line. San Diego did start to move the ball forward pretty well, actually. Dylan Winfrey had a pass swatting away. There was a pass interference by Amari Alexander, but Devontae Merriweather, with 11 minutes, 22 seconds to go in the third quarter, a 50-yard pick six. The point after was blocked, 34-15 Arizona. On the following kickoff, Nigeer Jackson was injured, though he did jog off the field on his own. San Diego's Rudy Johnson with a couple back-to-back solid runs. Kevin Symes Jr. deflected a pass, making it 3rd and 10. Then with 7 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the third quarter, Jermaine Dobbs, 43-yard pick six. 2 pick sixes to start off the second half. Great showing by the Rattlers defense, 41-15 Arizona. A couple of incomplete passes leading to a 4th down for San Diego. Then Davis's pass went nowhere, turnover on downs, and Dalton Snead took his first offensive snap of the second half with 2 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the third quarter. Absolutely ridiculous. We actually did get to talk to Dalton Snead after the fact, and I asked him, how did he manage that on the sideline? How did he manage to kind of keep himself in game shape? Because he was kind of iced to start the second half.
So he just let me know there was 2 minutes left in the third quarter until I got on the field, man. So it's like coming out for a new game, having to stay warm in the tunnel. Defense gets a pick, you grab your helmet, and then they score. You're like, I guess I'll put my helmet back, right? So just continuing to stay warm on the bench. But, I'll do that every game. If the defense wants to keep doing that, you keep doing your thing, man. I'm all behind it. So
Snead ran for 13 yards on a first down, 41-15 Arizona after 3. San Diego felt lifeless. It just Arizona came to play all 3 phases. I think San Diego's offense played as well as they could. It just seemed like the Arizona Rattlers were the better team. At the very least, the Rattlers chose a great time to start playing like that. Dalton Snead, 2-yard touchdown, point after was good. Flag on the play on both teams, 48-15 Arizona with 14 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the game. Jermaine Dobbs bats away a couple of passes. Nate Davis, 12-yard touchdown. The 2-point is good, 48-23. Onside kick recovered by Devontae Merriweather. The Rattlers have a 4th down on the 5-yard line. Dawson Evans hits a field goal, 51-23. Dylan Winfrey, interception on the goal line. Flag on the play. You know the drill. San Diego's wide receiver Isaiah Cox was ejected. Nigeer Jackson then came back into the game. Dalton Snead was still in the game, throwing the ball on every play. I would have thought they would have brought in Garrett Kettle at that point, but they decided to keep going for it. Anyway, Nigeer Jackson, a 23-yard game before being brought down just a few yards shy of the end zone. Shannon Brooks, a 1-yard touchdown, point after is good, 58-23 with 1 minute to go in the game, and that's your final. Dominance. The Arizona Rattlers dominated that game from the opening kickoff, and they chose the best time of the year to play their best game of the season. And the Arizona Rattlers are the 2024 Western Conference champions. They are going to the national championship this weekend, actually, as of recording, and they're having a rematch of the 2021 United Bowl with the Massachusetts Pirates, who defeated the Rattlers 37-34 back during that game. Obviously, for the most part, they're 2 completely different teams, but a handful of players are still there, and it's going to be interesting to see if there's a little more of a rivalry feel in this game. It is a rematch of the 2021 championship. Individual stats, Dalton Snead, who only made 5 pass attempts in the second half, he went 4 for 5, by the way, 14 for 18, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also added 45 rushing yards and a couple of rushing touchdowns. Shannon Brooks, 8 attempts, 22 yards and a touchdown. On the receiving end of the ball, Nigeer Jackson, 4 receptions, 69 yards and a touchdown. Glenn Gibbons Jr., 3 receptions, 44 yards. Jamal Miles, 4 receptions, 26 yards, 2 touchdowns. Half of your receptions being touchdowns, not bad. On the defensive end of the ball, Jermaine Dobbs, 2 interceptions and a pass breakup. Connor Taylor had 5 quarterback hurries. He was just rushing the quarterback constantly. That's the game plan here at the Rattlers. Dylan Winfrey had an interception. Devontae Merriweather had an interception. Both Dobbs and Merriweather had pick sixes, both being in the third quarter. Again, kind of icing the offense, but Dalton Snead didn't really seem to complain after the game.
Being the competitor I know you are, does it kind of, you get a little antsy? You're like, I want to get back out there? Or just, no, we have the lead. My defense is playing well. Going to be out there and cheerlead for them. Make sure that they know I got their back.
Oh, of course. The latter, right? I mean, as a competitor, just like you said, you want to be on the field, you want to be playing, right? But I won't touch the field the whole second half if the defense plays like that. Whatever we got to do to win the game, I think I said this a couple weeks ago, I'll hand it to Brooks, I'll hand it to Miles, I'll do whatever we got to do to win the game. Winning means more to me than my individual performance.
After the game, I spoke to Connor Taylor about that defensive performance, and this is what he had to say.
Defensive performance, we came out, executed exactly what we wanted to do. We knew Nate, precision passer, guy that gets the ball out super quick. The way to get into his head is by getting pressure on him. And so coming in, that was a game plan, and I knew it was going to be a lot of running for me and I, but hey, that's why we do it. Really good execution on both sides of the ball, coming out here and making big plays.
And finally, I'll close out the video with a message to Rattlers fans from owner Ron Schertz.
You know what? It's just best fans in the league and best fans ever. So, fun stuff.